Welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of September 5th through to the 11th. We are now traversing further into September, and we're going to start to notice this busyness of doing that is Virgo. And this Virgo energy, as Venus just moved into Virgo on Sunday, Monday, depending on where you are around the world, but Sunday night, Monday morning, there is going to be more of this Virgo-in energy coming in. And then we also have a full moon in Pisces coming in on Saturday. So this Pisces-Virgo axis is going to be highlighted. Now, in astrology, there are dichotomies, as in life, right? Yin and yang, good and bad, the shadow and the light. And in astrology, we always have this kind of dichotomy where we are kind of working to find balance between. So whatever your sign is, there is the opposite sign in the astrology. And they're meant to complement each other, not trigger each other. So we often will pull in our other sign. So as a Virgo myself, my dad is a Pisces, which is very interesting. And a lot of the people I've dated in the past were Pisces as well. My husband, at this point in my life and forevermore, hopefully, I love him to pieces, is a Virgo as well. So it's really interesting. I had someone say to me once, if you want to have a fiery marriage, or relationship, then marry your opposite. But if you want to have somebody who thinks like you and does a lot of the things like you do, then marry someone who is like you, obviously. I mean, that just means common sense. And when I went into astrology, I went, oh my God, I married myself, really. I mean, he's got other aspects in life that make him a little bit more, this is, I know, sounding a little bit weird, so I'm going to move along. But this Pisces Virgo axis is going to be highlighted. So Virgo is about doing. It is a grounded, it's a mutable earth sign. So earth is about grounding, practicality, logical, and mutability means you can dodge and weave with shift with the changes, right? Crisis management. We really can kind of be flexible and versatile and ingenious in ideas and solutions. But what can happen is we can be a little scattered, because if you present me with too many potentials, I almost sort of feel overwhelmed, right? I need to kind of boil it down or come back to what is it that is in my heart. And that's why that intuition piece brings us to Pisces. So Pisces is about spirituality. It is compassion, empathy, our connection to the divine. It's artistic, it's flow state, it's mutable water. So think of water filling in all the gaps. If you poured it into a jar filled with marbles and stones and all of what, the water would just go in to fill those gaps. So Pisces is the most mutable, the most empathic, the most sensitive sign of the zodiac. And that Pisces nature really lends itself to them being healers, helpers, being able to understand what people need and meet those needs. And one of the hardest things with Pisces is boundaries, right? Because they can literally flow into every crevice. They can feel all your emotions. And so having that boundary is going to be key, because where I begin, where I end and you begin, that boundary requires awareness, right? And as an empath, as a psychic medium, I teach Intuition 101 is literally boundaries is class number 1. Because we have to learn what is mine and what is not, and why do we continue to want to feel other people? Because if you feel other people's energy, that is a choice. And I know that's going to be hard for someone hearing this to hear that. It is a choice, and a choice that you made as a child because you naturally were an empath. You're naturally a supporter, a healer, someone who likes to help other people feel good. And you learned at an early age that if you can feel what other people feel and you can take that on, you can make them feel better. But what you didn't really have the awareness or even the brain capacity at that age to understand is by holding all of that, you're disadvantaging yourself and you're elongating their life lessons. You're taking on their karmic lessons. So really, you're not helping anybody. You're just elongating their life lesson. You're making it longer because what you feel, you heal, right? And when you don't feel it, you don't heal it anymore. You're just, oh, well, that's okay. Oh, every time I go see Sheila makes me feel so good. So I'm just going to continue to hurt myself and keep going to see Sheila because it feels good, right? It's almost a form of escapism, which is Pisces. It's a form of trying to soothe ourselves through not so great methods. We call that low level coping, right? Low level coping is drugs, alcohol, shopping, trying to numb out, as opposed to high level coping is that it sucks to feel it, but we give ourselves resilience to do so. So that might be working out, that might be listening to podcasts, that might be writing, that might be, going to speak to a therapist or, talking it out, meditation, things like that. That's high level coping. So you're finding a way to cope in a way that kind of helps you build resilience and helps you through the trauma, through the healing, versus low level coping of numbing out and escaping. So that's going to come up this week. So Venus moved into Virgo on Sunday night, Monday morning. That's going to increase that Virgo in energy. And just as a recap, Venus in Virgo, this is a love language of doing. This is a love language of being of service. We like to help people make their lives easier by taking things off their plates. Virgos are doers, right? We have our lists, we have our productivity. We want to do something. You tell me a problem, I want a solution. Let's go, right? And Pisces is about flow state. Just remember that, right? So at September 6th, which is the Tuesday, we do have a few aspects to the moon on this day that's making it very sensitive, very intuitive, and really great for research, diving deeper into why we feel the way we feel. If you're feeling triggered, ask yourself, why am I feeling triggered? What part of me doesn't feel enough? Ooh, that's a big one. Wednesday, September 7th, the moon goes into Aquarius, new and unusual ways of doing things, goals for the future. You can just become more kind of progressive. And the moon in Aquarius likes to think things through. They're not feelers, they're thinkers, right? Air sign, very smart, very, very smart. So a great day Wednesday to bring some clarity maybe to your emotions. And then Thursday, no major aspects here as well, but Mercury is stationary retrograde by this point. So Mercury, we're moving into a Mercury retrograde on Friday, and we're starting to feel Mercury slow down. Now, if you're Virgo or Gemini, or have Virgo or Gemini prominent in your chart in other ways, and like moon rising, or even in your midheaven, I would say, ooh, this can feel like a lot. And I also have clients that are born with Mercury retrograde. So if you're born with a Mercury retrograde, what happens is this feels like home. This is a homecoming for you. This is my natural state of awareness when Mercury goes retrograde. So not everyone's going to experience Mercury retrograde the same, but Mercury is going retrograde in an air sign. Air is about intellect, ideas, inspiration, thoughts, and communication to an extent, but communication is more kind of mercurial. But yes, it is communication. Gemini rules communication. So when we think about that, air, now it's slowing down, right? Mercury is about our thoughts, communication, our thought processing, the way we communicate with each other and connect to each other. It's also our communities and our close relationships. So when we think about Mercury going retrograde, Mercury's going slower than the Earth, and now Mercury's rulership is actually more internalized, if you will. So it's almost like that communication now has to slow down, and we go into review state where, the rule of REs, review, reassess, realign. You're slowing down to make sure that all the things that you've done, you did them well. Okay. So it's not a time to kind of plow ahead for sure. This is a time where you're going to be going over all the things that happened when Mercury went into shadow. And Mercury went into shadow. Oh, I did write this down, but I should have written it on my notes right there. Is that when Mercury goes shadow, that was in August. Nope, I don't think it was in August. I'm going to find out that date and I'll put it in here. But what I'll say is this is a time now to slow down and to reassess and to go over the things that you have been moving through over the last 4 weeks. So I found it. Mercury went retrograde August 21st, and then retrograde, obviously now September 9th. So during that time between August 21st and September 9th, this is the time now, whatever you've been working on, you're going to go over it again. And almost like you're going to fix things or see ways where you might want to change it, or you might have a new awareness around those things that you're like, no, I don't actually believe that to be true. Or no, I don't want to continue down that path. Or, ooh, that book that I was writing, or that paragraph I was writing, or that email that I was constructing, I want to change the tone of it. I want to change some wordings, or I'm going to redo it altogether. And that's why this is not a great time to make big decisions, because you're meant to go over the decisions that you've made, the contracts that you're signing or about to sign. Please don't sign any contracts during Mercury retrograde, because what happens is it comes back with flaws or comes back with new awareness after Mercury goes direct, which is going to be October 2nd, that you're going to just kind of be aware of things in a new way. And you sort of, there's always issues with contracts. There's always issues with things that are happening during this time. So it's not a great time to, like I said, make big decisions, sign contracts, make, any big kind of really big investments or anything during this time. It's really just a time to slow down and reassess. And it's a lovely time because, as a Virgo, I am doing. As a Gemini, you would feel the same way, or Capricorns too. Like they're always in forward momentum trying to get something done. And it's the time to slow down now. So it's kind of like permission from the universe to slow down. So when Mercury goes direct on October 2nd, that is going to be a time to really kind of make some bigger decisions. And I'd actually wait like a week after that to just make sure Mercury's in full forward momentum. And, I really would wait till it's out of shadow if you could. But sometimes life happens and you can't wait, right? So if you can't wait, read the fine details. If you're traveling during a Mercury retrograde between now, September 9th and October 2nd, make sure you have your travel documents, paper copy, and on your phone. Make sure that you take a healthy dose of patience with you, because things are not going to go as planned. There's always kind of little glitches. Again, the universe is slowing you down to just understand what you've been doing too fast, so you can go back and kind of make the appropriate changes. Because when Mercury goes direct, you will have new insights, you will have new awareness, and things are going to go so fast. Okay. So Mercury is going to retrograde in an air sign. This is a great time to meditate, to find time alone, finding balance, intellectual time, not a good time to make decisions or sign contracts or choose investments. Because it's in Libra, it's going Mercury is going retrograde at 8 degrees of Libra. This is a time now when we're thinking about finding balance and harmony with others. It's a great energy for mediation, for trying to figure out, like if you're going through a divorce or custody battle, this will be a really great time to slow it down. Don't make any decisions during this time, but to negotiate and find that balance between what I want, what you want. Now, Libra inherently is the scales, right? It's the sign of the scales. And what happens in Libra is that we give and give and give from our side to find balance and harmony, because they don't like conflict and they do not like to have arguments. Right? Best I take it on the chin so that somebody else will just leave me alone. Right? They just value peace and harmony over the fight or over the conflict. But what can happen is they disadvantage themselves because they're giving so many concessions, or, yeah, I'll just take it. I'll just take it. I'll just take it. And what eventually happens with the Libra is that they just kind of like will explode and tell you what's what and go tell you to F yourself, and then the scales will right side. So, or they'll just run away. So it's definitely not an energy to be trifled with. It's brilliant, smart energy. Libras are so smart. They're very loyal and beautiful friends. And Mercury Libra is kind of asking you to reassess your values, beliefs, what you believe to be true, and how are you finding balance and harmony in your life, and where are you giving it away, right? Where are you giving away yourself for free? Where are you compromising to the point where you're hurting yourself? So stop it. Oh, yeah, so easy, right? Now, Saturday, September 9th. So this is like a big week, y'all. Not only does Mercury go retrograde, Venus just changed signs, and we have this full moon in Pisces. So on Saturday, this full moon in Pisces. Now the moon is in Pisces because the sun is in Virgo, right? We have the opposition. And so every full moon is an opposition. So if you want to learn the oppositions in astrology, just pay attention to the moons and you'll understand the opposite. So even understanding your opposite sign helps you with balance, right? As a Virgo, I'm always trying to, I am a psychic medium. Like I'm embodying the Pisces axis really well, and I can feel myself flowing on that axis, right? It's a scale. It's spectrum. That's the word I'm looking for. I recently had COVID, and that brain is still kicking in. Plus, I'm going through a Mercury transit right now. So what I'll say is there's this the spectrum, and we're always flowing between the spectrum. So on this full moon in Pisces, it is going to be very sensitive, y'all. So not only is Mercury going retrograde, which is changing the way we're thinking about things, Venus has gone into very perfectionistic, hardworking Virgo. Now we have this Pisces full moon, and this Pisces full moon is bringing with it its whole host of, you know, little gifts is what I'll call it, because everything is a gift, really, if you see it that way. And when you're going through the shit, I also want you to acknowledge that you're going through the shit, right? Not everything, it's a gift, I'm getting stabbed. No, and I like safety first and then look into what is this trying to teach me. So this Pisces full moon, doing and being. Doing and being. This is about being discerning and having boundaries with how much energy you are putting out, right? So at that Virgo new moon that we had 2 weeks ago, that Virgo new moon is about wellness and decluttering your mind and your heart and your energy of your space to really enjoy living life to the fullest while taking care of this vessel, right? Now, Pisces is about how you bringing your spiritual gifts and your spiritual alignment into your life. Because if you're doing that, you're going to be fine. You're going to be great. But if you're not, this full moon is going to try to get you on track with that. So what's happening with this full moon is the sun is in Virgo. The moon is going to be opposite, exactly opposite. So the moon, remember, is our intuition. It's our feeling nature. It's our divine feeling self. It's our spirituality. It's our soul sense, right? And then the sun is our identity. It's our masculine. It's our doing being. I am Sheetal in this life, right? My moon is like, we're all Sheetal, right? We're all love. We're all each other. We're reflections of each other. Whereas my sun is like, no, I am Sheetal, right? So we have the ego self and the soul self, right? And that's why we have this dichotomy. That's why we feel so crazy at this time, because it's almost like these two parts of us are kind of pulling against each other. And a really great way to use this energy for manifestation is to understand what seeds did you plant at the new moon, at the new moon in Pisces. The new moon in Pisces was on March 2nd, 2022. So look back on your life and see, what were you doing March 2nd? What were you thinking about? What were the seeds that you planted? And if you were following me, I would have told you to write on March 2nd, the date, what your intention was that you planted from March 2nd on September 10th, sorry. So you might have a little note in your calendar or on your Outlook or Google. This is the intention that I planted on March 2nd. Pay attention to that. How far have you come? What is that now in your life? How do you see it now in your life? You will have had new awareness and new things coming to light now. Full moon shines a light on this intention that you set back then. Now, with the moon, so the moon is already in super feeling Pisces. The moon is going to be with Neptune. And Neptune is about spirituality, compassion. It can empathy, our divine soul feeling self, spiritual awareness. And it's also delusion, fog, confusion. So whenever the sun is opposite Neptune, which I'm going through that transit now in my life, it's like everything that you thought you were thinking is not real. Everything that you thought to be true isn't actually true. You start to question all the things that you thought to be true in your life. And this full moon is going to be bringing that up for everybody. And so Neptune goes so slow, right? He's going through Pisces and she's going through Pisces. And she is very slow. And she's bringing with her these gifts. So this Neptune is going to amplify the sensitivity and the intuition of this moon. Okay, number one. Number two aspect that's really in play with this moon is there's a square to Mars. So we've got the moon on one side with Neptune, all this feeling, Pisces energy. And then we've got the sun over here doing with all her checklist, his checklists, all the things over here in Virgo. And then square to both of these planets, we call that a T-square, is Mars in Gemini. Oof. Now, Mars is passion, drive, vitality, our way that we go and do things. It's motivation. How are you moving through life? Your egoic will. I want to go in this direction. So wherever Mars is in your chart and the sign that it is in, it will talk about how you get motivated, what really spurs you into action in your life, right? So my Mars is in Cancer. I am really sparked by protecting people, helping women. That's what I do. I help women moving through transitions and grief and aligning with their intuition. Right, I've also helped men as well, but it's through this feeling of supportiveness, Cancer, right? Security, safety, home, foundations. And I help people come back into those foundations of their soul self, right? And their intuition, and then leap into the life of passion and purpose that they love. So that's the way I move through the world. If it doesn't spark my intuition and it doesn't speak to my heart, I don't do it. Right? If there was an Aries, I'd be like, yes, I'm driven to succeed. I'd be fiery. I want to be first. I want to do the thing. I'm pioneering and bold. So wherever your Mars is in your chart and the sign that it's in, it will tell you about how your passion and motivation, what motivates you, what drives you. So with Gemini Mars right now at the time of this full moon, Gemini is very curious, but it's fast. It's fast. It wants to go, right? It's mutable air. It wants to go wherever it desires, and it is impatient. So what's going to happen at this full moon, you can kind of see how this is going. There's going to be impatience. There's going to be blocks. We're going to feel like we want to go and we're not getting to do it. This is the energy of hitting every red light on the way to work, and you are late. And you're feeling late. Virgo is like, I hate being late. I need to get going. I need to do the thing. So this full moon is going to ask you to really dip into that Pisces, to meditate, to slow down, to introspect. And if you're feeling like you're not on time, you're behind, you're out of time, stop it. Yes, so easy. Ask yourself, why? What's the rush? Where do you need to go? Right? I often see it in the tarot and in readings as well that people are like, oh, I feel like I should be further ahead at this point in my life. I'm like, no, why do you feel like that? You're exactly where you need to be. What if you just accepted that? My gosh, what a burden would take off your shoulders, right? So this full moon is going to ask you if wherever you feel like you're not in flow, wherever you feel like you're behind, wherever you're comparing yourself, Virgo, stop it and slow down. It's going to be triggering you in some way. This square to Mars is very triggery energy. It's frustration. It's I want to get there now. It's irritability. And that Neptune in there, oof, like it is just adding to our sensitivity. So you might cry. You might feel very frustrated and cry because of frustration, or cry because of sadness, or cry because you're judging yourself too hard. It's okay. It's okay to cry. Tears are sacred, right? It's part of grief. It's part of honoring where you're at. And then what can you accept about your situation that would make you feel so much better if you accepted it? Our world is created on beliefs, right? And Mercury rules Virgo, and with Mercury in Libra retrograde, that's going to mess up our perception a bit as well. But it's trying to find that balance and harmony. So every time you name something that's terrible in your life, I want you to name something that's good. That balance of Libra. Right. It's not to say that you can't avoid, like I just got a tax bill for my taxes for next year that I have to start paying this year. I can't be like, all's well, I mean, like, okay, I'm going to I have a plan to save that money. They've given me enough time to save for it and to pay it. And I got it all together and I'm good. I feel good with that plan. Right. So yes, I've got taxes I have to pay, but then I also am like, I'm so grateful that I have the money that I can pay it. And will some other things have to give way so I can do that? Yeah. But maybe it'll also spur me to be creative so I can create something that's going to help more people, which will then thereby also pay those bills. So it's really interesting when you start to kind of change your perspective and reframe thoughts on how your reality starts to shift. And then you start to bring in all these amazing people that help you and opportunities. So Saturday, stay open to opportunities and possibilities, meditate, ground yourself, boundaries, and find that practical, intuitive answer for things that are not going to get done quickly. Okay. No big things are going to get done quickly at this point in time. Okay. And then Sunday, September 11th, we have a lovely aspect that's coming into it's pretty much exact on Saturday as well, but exact on Sunday. And it is Sun trine to Uranus. So Sun trine to Uranus is actually, trines are supposed to be really wonderful and helpful things. But as I know, trines can also exaggerate things that are happening in your life that make it feel so much worse, but also can be so much better. So the sun is our vitality, our ego, our identity, and Uranus is about your uniqueness. It's your special gifts and talents. It is evolution. It is what you came in here to do, your mission. Whatever Uranus touches, changes. So with this trine together, this is ingenious ideas and thoughts. This is great encounters with people. This can be like inspiration coming, into your awareness, self-awareness, self-confidence, glimpses into the future, right? Uranus is futuristic. It rules your Aquarius, right? So this is like technology and new ways of doing things, insights, solutions, heightened intuition, open-minded, adventurous, progressive. And Uranus is retrograde right now. So it's bringing us awareness of like, where could we evolve? Where are we holding ourselves back in our unique perspective and our unique way of doing things that could be really, helpful to whatever you're going through now. So this feels like to me, like your quirky side comes out, or you meet these amazing kind of off the wall people that are helping you in some way. I feel like I'm very Aquarian in this time of my life, or Uranian in this time of life where I'm thinking outside the box and, providing solutions to people that, maybe they wouldn't have thought about, right? So this can be really wonderful energy. And moon moves into your Aries on Sunday as well. So this kind of fires us up to get moving in some way. But remember, with that Mercury retrograde and this new moon energy, is not time to start doing anything, right? We want to wait like 2 or 3 days to start to really work on our intentions for the moon. And Mercury retrograde, we're not making any big decisions right now. We're not signing any contracts. This is a great time to plan, to go over things that you've done before. Let's say you're in some sort of launch, which is interesting because I am. I'm going to be looking over the things that we've planned to do and how we're doing them. It's already in momentum, so I don't mind. It's not anything you can't. It's not that you can't be in launch for Mercury retrograde. It's that you had to start it before the retrograde started. So you might some insights. This is actually a really wonderful time to get more insights and understanding about the things that you've already been doing, which is I'm excited to see where that's going to go. So wishing you a wonderful week ahead. Remember, everything for an opportunity, right? This is a time to ground, to slow down. I'm giving you permission to slow down and to start to review and notice what's happening in life. What are some of these kind of themes that keep presenting themselves? These cycles are helping you so that you can understand the next cycle that's coming around. All right. So wishing you a wonderful week. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you.